Hi everybody, this is Carrick from Angry Centaur Gaming, and today I'm happy to bring you the review for Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate for the Xbox 360. Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate tells a tale of Dead or Alive. Yep, same story, well with a bit of expansion. However, let's just make something up. It tells a tale of ninjas attempting to find their dying leader's banana hammock before he dies of old age. That's pretty much good enough. Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate is a fighting game with over 20 characters, a ton of levels, many of which explode, fall apart, or rupture, mimicking the best Hollywood red carpet events. The game failed to get much embrace for quite some time, as its fighting systems in the past were akin to throwing sledgehammers at your controller and calling it a day. But subtle changes with each version has brought the game into the fold of more technical fighters, though it's always reminding the player that it don't give a fuck whether due to goofy costumes or awkward as hell storylines and cutscenes that are right out of the Video Music Awards. I mean, at times you really think the game's purposely making you wonder what the hell's going on, and that's always been a part of its charm. But we are on 5 people, the number 5. Most people don't get 5 cars in their life before stroking out. And just like Saturday Night Live, it's time for some fucking improvements. So what do we get? Well, let's see if this game is more Pamela Anderson before or after she was Tommy Lead. Graphics. These girls have more stacks than professional poker players. Damn. But aside from the continual bust improvement, the game really hasn't updated its graphics engine by much more than a smidgen since Sally Jesse Raphael was on TV talking to Satan worshippers. And though the game is probably one of the best looking fighting games in terms of just the overall looks, it's decidedly behind the times when it comes to things like skin texturing and true lighting. Every character looks like they're in for a serious case of melanoma, with their shiny faces beaming light back to the sun as much as they get it. Uniforms and costumes are detailed as ever, while the backgrounds are truly larger than life, though they suffer all too frequently from just enougicus. This ailment shows up as large but plainly textured backgrounds and low polygon destructive materials. It's apparently fatal. It's also fairly depressing because using the same sand texture in your game 3 years running when other games have literally rewrote their entire graphic system, adding in more and more complexity, is just lazy. Lazy, sad and lazy. This is the game I would program, not professionals. The lack of any improvement to the visuals is a real letdown, as the game has always been known as a looker, but instead is now solidly samey. Let's move on to audio and visual. Sound and music. I always felt that Dead or Alive had great sound and music, and this continues on that trend. With tons of scores and the ability to pick when they play, you can really tailor the music to you, and all of the music, all of the sound effects are pretty phenomenal. And the sound effects are great, with over-the-top explosions, random gunfire, and cutscenes mixed in with the sound of waves, the cracking of ice, or just fist on stupid face. It's really great. The voice acting, though, is hilarious. Because it's actually somewhat good, however, the only way to tell that it is good is to take a great deal of Quaaludes and watch it in reverse, and even then I'm not quite sure you're going to understand anything. But I rate the voice acting separate from the story, so as it sits, the voice acting itself is good, even if you have no damn clue what they're talking about. Gameplay. This game has always got the short end of the stick, considered one of the least technical of the fighting games. I'm not exactly sure why, as that's sort of like two people arguing over what caliber of gun is the best after they both die from gunshots, but whatever. And it really hasn't changed much since Dead or Alive 5, except for the add-on of a new power move and some great changes to the tagline and online systems and some new characters. The fact is, Dead or Alive doesn't do much in the way of changing. It simply adds more and more stuff with each iteration, just packing itself full like a station wagon on a family trip. So what do you get with Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate? Well, you get Dead or Alive 5. With tons of DLC, 5 new fighters, a stage or 2. The question is, does this deserve the title Ultimate? Ultimate is sort of like Blackberry Pie, a rare and untold power resides in both, and their use should be minimalized, else this world end in havoc and banditry. So if you ask me, does a couple characters, a new style of move, and some changes to the network play garner the Ultimate branding? My personal opinion is probably not. So as we all know, I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or dropkick the fucking thing into the ocean rating scale. This is a rent. If you've never owned a Dead or Alive, this could be a wait for a sale. But the game crutches itself along, making no real strides. When it came to Dead or Alive 5, the game fared rather well, doing nothing exceedingly well, but also not making any massive mistakes. This allowed for the positives to show through and the negatives to sort of shuffle off into the distance, kicking a rock and swearing they'll be back someday. Sadly, they're back right now, and the fact that no real changes have occurred and no real improvements other than the 5 characters, it just does not feel like a full game to me and should be released at maybe a $19.99 price. So as always, this is Carrick from Angry Centaur Gaming. I appreciate you listening. If you like it, hit like. If you didn't like it, hit dislike. Leave a comment. Share it if you can. Have a good one, and peace out, bitches.